There's always a new corner of the world waiting to be explored. Some are well known, others are still secrets, but all are worth the journey. These are the ones you'll be glad you found. Can a city feel like a carnival, a fortress, and a love letter all at once? Cartagena dances in every shade of sunlight. Cartagena, Colombia, hugs the Caribbean coast with flamboyant flair and centuries of resilience. Enclosed within thick coral stone walls, its old town is a maze of colonial mansions, bougainvillea-draped balconies, and vibrant plazas echoing with salsa beats and clinking glasses. Founded in the 16th century, Cartagena was once one of the most important ports in Spanish America. Its fortresses, like Castillo San Felipe de Barajas, still stand guard, whispering tales of pirates and conquest. But today, this city is a celebration of color, rhythm, and coastal soul. The contrast between history and hedonism is magnetic. From Afro-Caribbean cuisine to sunset strolls along the city walls, Cartagena seduces travelers with sensory overload. Gabriel Garcia Marquez found lifelong inspiration here, and it's easy to see why. In Cartagena, every street feels like a story waiting to be told. What if you could swim in ancient, sacred wells, once believed to be portals to the underworld? The cenotes of Yucatan, Mexico, are natural sinkholes formed by the collapse of limestone bedrock, revealing crystal-clear groundwater beneath. Scattered across the lush jungles of the Yucatan Peninsula, these hidden pools offer one of the most magical swimming experiences on Earth. Some, like Iqquil or Cenote Suitun, are open to the sky and ringed with jungle vines, while others, like Cenote Exquequen, lie deep underground in caves filled with dramatic stalactites. The water is cool, turquoise, and incredibly pure. These cenotes were sacred to the ancient Maya, used for ritual offerings and believed to be entrances to Xibalba, the Mayan underworld. There are over 6,000 cenotes in the region, many accessible from the city of Valladolid or tourist hubs like Tulum. Whether for diving, snorkeling, or simply floating in silence, every cenote offers a moment of awe. This is not just a swim, it's a plunge into geological time and ancient myth. What if you could walk through a forest, cross golden dunes, then hear only waves and silence? Terschelling, Netherlands, is a slender island floating in the Wadden Sea, off the northern coast of Europe. It's part of the Frisian Islands, where winds sculpt the beaches and tides reveal muddy flats teeming with life. A paradise for hikers, cyclists, and stargazers, the island feels like it belongs to another century. The crown jewel is the Boschplatte Nature Reserve, a UNESCO-listed area of shifting sands, salt marshes, and dune valleys. Here, migratory birds darken the sky during seasonal journeys, and wild horses roam freely. Sunrise over its untouched landscape is something few forget. Once a year, Terschelling transforms into an open-air stage during the Oral Festival, where artists perform among trees, barns, and beaches. It's surreal, unpredictable, and rooted in the island's commitment to blending culture with raw nature. Fun fact, this is one of the few places in Europe where the stars remain untarnished by city glow. The island's low light pollution makes it a top stargazing spot, especially during meteor showers. Kyoto, Japan. Located on the island of Honshu, Kyoto was once the imperial capital and remains the spiritual heart of Japanese tradition. Surrounded by mountains, its temples, shrines, and tea houses are nestled into a city that feels like a living museum. At the center of Kyoto's timeless allure is the Fushimi Inari Shrine, where thousands of vermilion torii gates wind through a forested hillside. Walking through them is like stepping into a sacred corridor, suspended in time and silence. Kyoto is home to 17 UNESCO World Heritage Sites and over 1,600 Buddhist temples. Yet what truly defines it is its subtlety. The quiet rustle of kimono fabric in Gion, the serene reflection in a Zen garden, or the aroma of matcha during a tea ceremony. It's a place that whispers rather than shouts. While modern life pulses discreetly beneath the surface, Kyoto remains a sanctuary of refinement. Here, beauty isn't just seen, it's practiced, preserved, and passed down through generations. Have you ever walked through a dream painted in every shade of blue? Chefchaouen, Morocco. Tucked in the Rif Mountains of northern Africa, this small town seems untouched by time. The entire Medina is painted in hypnotic shades of indigo and cobalt, earning it the nickname, the Blue Pearl of Morocco. Beyond its palette, Chefchaouen offers a sensory journey through narrow alleys lined with arched doorways, flower pots, and hand-woven textiles. The town's Kasbah, an ochre fortress from the 15th century, sits at the heart of the Medina, while the surrounding hills offer hiking trails with panoramic views and waterfalls like Ras El Ma. Founded by Moorish and Jewish exiles in the 1400s, the town still reflects Andalusian architecture and Islamic tradition. Its blue walls are steeped in mystery. Some say they symbolize the sky and heaven, others claim it keeps mosquitoes away. No matter the reason, the result is spellbinding. Chefchaouen isn't about sights to tick off, it's about slowing down, listening to the call to prayer echo through the mountains, sipping mint tea as cats weave through sunlit courtyards. It's not just a place to visit, it's a mood, a breath, a brush stroke come to life. Have you ever seen a canyon that looks like a lost world sculpted by giants? Cheren Canyon, Kazakhstan, is often called the Grand Canyon's little brother. But this ancient marvel holds its own with sheer cliffs, surreal rock towers, and echoing silence that humbles every visitor. Located in the Cheren National Park, just a few hours from Almaty, the canyon stretches over 150 kilometers. But the highlight is the Valley of Castles, a stretch where wind-carved formations resemble colossal fortresses rising from the desert floor. The palette here ranges from soft gold to burnt orange, glowing most vividly at sunset. Despite its remote location, Cheren is deeply tied to Kazakh identity. Local legends speak of spirits guarding the canyon, and centuries of nomadic presence echo through the land. Few tourists make it here, giving the place a haunting solitude. It's wild, it's vast, and it's real. A reminder that nature, not man, is the ultimate architect. What if you could stand atop the inspiration for a lost world? A mountain so ancient, it predates the continents themselves. Welcome to Mount Roraima. Mount Roraima, Venezuela, rises on the tri-border of Venezuela, Brazil, and Guyana, part of the legendary Guiana Shield. This tabletop mountain, or tepui, towers nearly 2,800 meters high, with sheer cliffs and a flat summit often shrouded in clouds. The hike to Roraima's summit is a surreal journey through rainforest, rivers, and otherworldly stone formations. At the top, discover alien-like landscapes, carnivorous plants, and rock towers sculpted by millennia of rain and wind. For the Pemon people, Roraima is sacred, the stump of a mighty tree that once held all the world's fruits. Arthur Conan Doyle's The Lost World was directly inspired by this place, imagining dinosaurs atop its remote plateau. A fascinating truth. Roughly 70% of Roraima's plant life is endemic, found nowhere else on Earth. This is not just a mountain, it's a time capsule from Earth's distant past. What if you could float silently through a flooded desert, where lions nap beneath palm trees and elephants wade through lilies? The Okavango Delta, Botswana, is a rare hydrological miracle. A river that flows inland, not to the sea, but into the sands of the Kalahari. This UNESCO World Heritage Site in southern Africa is one of the planet's richest and most unique ecosystems. Aboard a Mokoro, dugout canoe, travelers glide through papyrus channels past hippos, crocodiles, and rare birds like the Pell's fishing owl. During the annual flood, the desert blooms into a watery Eden, attracting zebras, lions, and hundreds of elephant herds. The delta has been home to the Baye and Hambakushu peoples for centuries, who navigate its maze of islands with ancestral knowledge and quiet reverence. Unlike the crowded savannas of East Africa, the Okavango offers intimacy, safaris on foot or water, where silence enhances every sighting. It's a place where nature breathes fully, and the wild reigns in its most poetic form. What if you could stand at the edge of the world, where jagged mountains meet icy waters and the silence feels eternal? Ushuaia is that last frontier. Ushuaia, Argentina, lies on the southern tip of South America in Tierra del Fuego, surrounded by the Marshall Mountains and the Beagle Channel. Often called the southernmost city on Earth, it's the gateway to Antarctica and a hub of Patagonian wilderness. Key attractions include the dramatic Tierra del Fuego National Park, offering glacier-fed lakes and beach forests, and the End-of-the-World Train, a historic railway once used by prisoners. The city's port also welcomes ships bound for Antarctic expeditions. Founded as a penal colony, Ushuaia has a rich and complex past. Today, it balances rugged remoteness with a surprising cultural depth, including museums, local art, and hearty Fuegian cuisine shaped by survival in extreme latitudes. Fun fact, Ushuaia's location makes it one of the few places on Earth where you can witness both the southern lights, aurora australis, and snowfall in summer, a paradox only this wild corner of the planet can offer. What if I told you there's a lake so vast, it holds 1/5 of all the fresh water on Earth, and it's been around since the age of the mammoths? Welcome to Lake Baikal, Russia, a natural marvel tucked deep in Siberia. Stretching over 600 kilometers, this crescent-shaped basin is the oldest and deepest lake in the world, formed over 25 million years ago. Located in southern Siberia near the Mongolian border, Lake Baikal lies between the Irkutsk region and the Republic of Buryatia. Surrounded by taiga forests and snow-capped peaks, its icy surface transforms into a magical, glass-like expanse in winter, attracting adventurers and photographers alike. The lake is home to more than 2,000 species found nowhere else on Earth, including the Baikal seal, the only freshwater seal in the world. Its cultural roots run deep, revered by local Buryat communities and shrouded in legends. Intriguing detail, in some spots, Baikal's water is so clear you can see 40 meters down, an underwater world beneath your feet. Imagine Imagine an island where koalas nap in eucalyptus trees, sea lions bask on white sand beaches, and the sky glows with southern stars. This isn't a dream. This is Kangaroo Island. Kangaroo Island, Australia. Just a short ferry ride from mainland South Australia, this ecological wonderland is often called Australia's Galapagos for its staggering biodiversity and untouched beauty. Its windswept cliffs, secluded coves, and eucalyptus forests form the backdrop for unforgettable wildlife encounters. Kangaroos hop through open fields, echidnas scurry across trails, and sea lions nap lazily on Seal Bay. The Flinders Chase National Park dazzles with geological wonders like the Remarkable Rocks and Admiral's Arch, both sculpted by centuries of wind and sea. Kangaroo Island holds deep indigenous significance, once inhabited by the Ngarrindjeri and Kaurna peoples before rising sea levels isolated it from the mainland. Today, the island is a haven for conservation, especially after the devastating bushfires sparked a global effort to preserve its unique habitats. It's not just a destination, it's a living sanctuary of resilience, nature, and raw Australian magic. You ever dreamt of standing beneath a sky so clear, it feels like falling into the stars? At Lake Tekapo, the universe truly opens above you. Lake Tekapo, New Zealand, lies in the heart of the South Island, flanked by the Southern Alps and part of the Aoraki-Mackenzie Dark Sky Reserve, one of the best stargazing locations on Earth. The lake's surreal turquoise hue comes from glacial flour suspended in its waters. The Church of the Good Shepherd, perched on the lake's edge, is a postcard icon. In spring, fields of blooming lupins turn the shoreline into a riot of purples and pinks. Nearby Mount John Observatory invites visitors to explore the cosmos through world-class telescopes. Culturally, the area blends Maori legend with New Zealand's frontier spirit. The lake's name comes from Takapo, meaning to leave in haste at night, steeped in local mythology. A remarkable fact: on clear nights, the Milky Way stretches across the sky like a painted ribbon. No light pollution, no noise, just the hush of alpine air and stars brighter than you'd ever thought possible. Queenstown, New Zealand. Nestled on the shores of Lake Wakatipu and cradled by the jagged peaks of the Remarkables, Queenstown is the adventure capital of the Southern Hemisphere. Located on New Zealand's South Island, it offers a mix of alpine splendor and adrenaline-pumping experiences. The town pulses with energy. In one day, you can bungee jump off Kawara Bridge, ride the Skyline gondola to panoramic views, and sip wine from a vineyard tucked into the hills of nearby Gibbston Valley. For nature lovers, hikes like Ben Lomond or cruises on Milford Sound unveil breathtaking serenity. Originally a gold mining settlement, Queenstown has evolved into a cosmopolitan mountain retreat. It hosts international film festivals, gourmet food events, and is surrounded by landscapes immortalized in The Lord of the Rings saga. This is a place where luxury meets wilderness, where thrill meets stillness, a town that promises both action and awe in equal measure. Ever walked on a bridge not made by man, but grown by nature itself? Meghalaya, India, hidden in the northeastern hills near the Bangladesh border, is a realm of clouds, waterfalls, and living architecture. The name literally means abode of the clouds, and here, weather isn't a backdrop, it's a character. Most famous are the living root bridges of Cherrapunji and Molinong, where villagers train rubber fig trees to grow natural walkways across rivers. Some of these bridges are centuries old and still used daily. During monsoon, towering waterfalls like Nokalikai roar through green canyons, while caves like Mausmai stretch into ancient limestone underworlds. The Khasi and Garo tribes preserve a matrilineal culture. Property passes through daughters, and women lead communities. Their dances, music, and traditions are deeply tied to the land's rhythms. Unlike crowded tourist circuits, Meghalaya remains untouched by mass tourism. Here, nature doesn't just surround. It nurtures, shapes, and guides. In Meghalaya, the land builds its own bridges, literally. What if a capital felt like a crossroads of Soviet ambition and nomadic soul? Bishkek, the gateway to Kyrgyzstan, lies at the foot of the towering Tian Shan Range. Its wide boulevards and brutalist architecture meet green parks, bazaars, and snow-capped horizons. It's young, laid back, and filled with contrasts that surprise. Alatu Square is Bishkek's open-air heart. Framed by government buildings and backed by distant peaks, it's where parades, protests, and quiet moments all unfold. The statue of Manas the Great watches over, a silent guardian of Kyrgyz pride. Osh Bazaar is where life pulses raw and real. You'll smell spices, hear clinking coins, see rows of dried fruits, bread, and wool hats called kalpaks. This is Bishkek Unplugged, a mosaic of smells, voices, and everyday poetry. Ever imagine standing on the edge of the earth, surrounded by fire-breathing volcanoes, steaming geysers, and untouched wilderness where bears outnumber people? Kamchatka Peninsula, Russia. Jutting into the Pacific Ocean in Russia's Far East, Kamchatka is one of the most remote, wild, and geologically active regions on the planet. Home to more than 160 volcanoes, 29 of them active. This land is in constant transformation. The Valley of Geysers is a spectacle of steaming vents, bubbling mud pools, and thermal springs, rivaling Yellowstone in scale, but not in crowds. Towering over the land, Kronotsky and Klyuchevskaya Sopka rise like fire giants, snow-capped and smoking. The peninsula is also a haven for wildlife. Brown bears, Steller's sea eagles, and massive salmon runs paint the ecosystem with life. For the indigenous Koryaks and Itelmens, this land is sacred, a place of spirits, reindeer, and ancestral lore. Reaching Kamchatka is no easy feat, but the reward is a raw, apocalyptic beauty untouched by civilization. Kamchatka is Earth untamed, a reminder of nature's primal power and haunting grandeur. What mountain makes seasoned climbers stop and simply stare? Mount Fitzroy, Argentina, rises like a jagged flame over the wind-swept wilderness of Patagonia. Straddling the border between Argentina and Chile, this granite giant is the crown jewel of Los Glaciares National Park and one of the most iconic peaks in South America. At 3,405 meters, Fitzroy is not the tallest in the Andes, but its dramatic silhouette, sharp, steep, and often wrapped in cloud, gives it an unmatched presence. It's a sacred mountain for the Tehuelche people, who named it Chalten, meaning smoking mountain, mistaking its cloud cover for smoke. Trekkers come from around the world to hike the trails around El Chalten, with Laguna de los Tres offering a perfect mirror view of the peak at sunrise. The terrain is wild. Glacial valleys, alpine meadows, and rushing rivers surround you at every turn. This isn't just a mountain. It's a call to the wild, to the brave, and to the truly curious. What if your city was once the capital of a vast medieval empire, and its history still clung to the cliffs like ivy? Veliko Tarnovo, often called the City of the Tsars, is Bulgaria's most dramatic town, where ancient fortresses perch on ridges above winding rivers, and cobbled streets tell tales of grandeur, revolution, and resilience. Tsarevets Fortress is the crown jewel of Veliko Tarnovo, a sprawling stronghold atop a rocky hill, once home to the Bulgarian Tsars of the Second Empire. Visitors walk through stone gates, past ruined walls and reconstructed towers, ending at the patriarchal cathedral, now adorned with bold modernist frescoes that retell Bulgaria's turbulent past. This preserved craftsman street is a living museum of Bulgarian tradition. Here, blacksmiths, potters, and woodcarvers still practice their trades, and you can sip Turkish coffee in 19th-century taverns that feel untouched by time. It's a window into a Bulgaria where folklore and craftsmanship still matter. Veliko Tarnovo is more than history. It's a place of poetic contrasts. Modern cafes nestle inside Ottoman-era buildings. Students from the local university give the town an intellectual buzz. And the nightly light show over Tsarevets Fortress reminds you, this city remembers its past, but it's still alive, evolving, and quietly captivating. In the heart of Central Asia, surrounded by snow-capped peaks, lies Lake Issyk-Kul, the hot lake that never freezes, even in the dead of winter. At over 1,600 meters above sea level, this alpine lake is both a natural wonder and a cultural crossroads of the Silk Road. The resort town of Cholpon-Ata offers beaches, Soviet-era sanatoriums, and an open-air museum with petroglyphs dating back thousands of years, remnants of Scythians, Turks, and other ancient peoples who once passed through. Around the lake, you can stay in traditional yurts, taste fermented mare's milk, kumis, and ride horses across sweeping steppe landscapes. It's a glimpse into nomadic life unchanged for centuries. Issyk-Kul blends raw beauty with quiet mysticism, a place where turquoise water meets icy mountains, and old Silk Road legends seem to rise from the mist. It's a peaceful retreat that also hints at ancient secrets still buried beneath the lake's shimmering surface. Have you ever seen a river that boils, or a geyser that shoots water higher than a 10-story building? Yellowstone National Park, USA, is nature at its wildest and most surreal. Located mostly in Wyoming, but spilling into Montana and Idaho, this vast reserve sits atop a supervolcano that fuels its incredible geothermal wonders. Yellowstone's world-famous landmarks include the Old Faithful Geyser, the rainbow-colored Grand Prismatic Spring, and the thundering Yellowstone Falls. Its landscapes shift from alpine meadows to vast forests and steaming basins, home to bison herds, grizzly bears, and elusive wolves. This was America's first national park, established in 1872, and remains a symbol of natural conservation. Native tribes revered the area for thousands of years, long before it became a tourist icon. One unforgettable fact: beneath your feet lies one of the most powerful volcanic systems on Earth, still active, still breathing. What if a city could sing with the sound of ocean winds and the sorrowful hum of fado in moonlit alleys? Lisbon, Portugal's sun-kissed capital, rises over 7 hills along the Tagus River, where tradition dances with innovation. This Atlantic-facing gem blends ancient maritime glory with colorful street life and pastel-toned architecture that bathes in golden light. Explore the labyrinth of Alfama, where trams rattle past azulejo-covered houses and mournful fado songs echo through stone corridors. Belem's iconic tower and Geronimos Monastery whisper tales of explorers who sailed toward the edge of the known world. A must? Ride Tram 28 as it winds through historic districts. Or savor pastéis de nata warm from the oven. Fun fact, Lisbon gets more sunshine than almost any other European capital. And at sunset, watching the sky blush over the 25 de Abril Bridge from a rooftop bar makes the city feel timeless. Lisbon doesn't shout, it seduces. You believe in gravity until you see how Positano clings to a cliff like it's defying the laws of nature. The Amalfi Coast, Italy, is a shimmering ribbon of coastline in southern Italy's Campania region, stretching from Sorrento to Salerno along the Tyrrhenian Sea. It's known for vertiginous cliffs, pastel villages, and citrus groves that scent the breeze. The iconic town of Positano cascades down the mountainside, each building stacked above the next, like a pastel-colored amphitheater. Nearby, Ravello offers sweeping sea views and romantic gardens that once inspired Wagner. The region was once a vital hub in the powerful maritime republic of Amalfi. Today, its narrow lanes and centuries-old churches preserve the rhythms of coastal life long before tourism ever arrived. Fun fact, lemons here grow the size of grapefruits, and the world-famous limoncello is born from their thick, fragrant zest. The Amalfi Coast isn't just a destination. It's a vertical dreamland kissed by salt and sun. What if a city rose from the desert like a futuristic mirage? Dubai, UAE, defies logic and gravity. Located on the shimmering Persian Gulf, this megacity is a masterclass in ambition, where tradition and ultra-modern design walk side by side through golden dunes and marble malls. The Burj Khalifa pierces the sky at over 828 meters, offering dizzying views of a skyline that didn't exist a few decades ago. Man-made islands shaped like palms and continents redefine the coastline, while the Dubai Mall is a labyrinth of luxury and indoor waterfalls. Yet just outside the city, endless sand dunes whisper stories of Bedouin heritage. Dubai blends old souks filled with spices and gold with flying taxis and robot police. It's a place where Friday prayers echo near Formula One tracks, and where Falcons and Ferraris share the same airspace. This city isn't just modern, it's a vision of what tomorrow might look like if dreams had no limits. Imagine a crimson castle floating on a lake, its towers mirrored in still water. Too magical to be real? Not in Lithuania. This is the legendary Trakai Castle. The Trakai Castle, Lithuania, rises from the waters of Lake Galve, just west of Vilnius. Surrounded entirely by water, this Gothic red brick fortress is one of the most iconic and photogenic landmarks in the Baltics. Accessible by wooden bridges, it looks like a scene from a fairy tale. Built in the 14th century by the Grand Duchy of Lithuania, it served as a political and military center. Over centuries, it witnessed battles, royal intrigues, and cultural fusion, especially with the local Karaim community who still inhabit the town. Inside, the castle houses a museum with medieval artifacts, armory, and period interiors, allowing visitors to step into the life of a bygone era. In summer, The surrounding lake is a favorite spot for boating and picnics, turning this medieval marvel into a lively retreat. What if every sunrise revealed thousands of ancient temples across a mist-covered plain? Welcome to Bagan, Myanmar, sits in the dusty heart of the Mandalay region and boasts one of the world's most awe-inspiring archaeological landscapes. Spread across 40 square miles, over 2,000 temples, pagodas, and stupas rise from the earth, the remnants of a once mighty Buddhist kingdom. Built between the 9th and 13th centuries, these sacred structures vary in size and style, from towering Ananda Temple to the humble brick ruins where monks still chant. When dawn breaks, hot air balloons float silently above, casting shadows over the golden domes and glowing spires. Unlike many ancient sites, Bagan remains active. Locals still pray, meditate, and gather for festivals. It's both a ruin and a living sanctuary. Fun fact: at its peak, Bagan had over 10,000 religious monuments. To walk here is to time travel across centuries of devotion, all beneath an ever-changing sky. Can a city really float? Or is Venice a spell cast upon the sea? Venice, Italy, is built on more than 100 small islands in the Venetian lagoon, northeastern Europe. With no roads, only canals and narrow walkways, the city feels like a living painting, especially when gondolas glide silently under stone archways, past palaces that whisper of forgotten empires. The Grand Canal snakes through the city like a royal artery, lined with Gothic and Renaissance masterpieces. St. Mark's Basilica gleams with golden mosaics, and the Doge's palace hides secrets of Venetian power and intrigue. Every turn reveals something cinematic, from crumbling facades to hidden piazzas where time slows. Venice was once the epicenter of maritime trade, and its cultural legacy is immense, from Vivaldi's music to glass-blowing in Murano. Here's a fact that surprises many. The city is slowly sinking. Visit during the spring high tides, and you might walk through flooded squares. Venice is beauty, impermanence, and wonder, all at once. Have you ever dipped into waters so luminous and milky blue, you'd swear they were painted by a dream? The Blue Lagoon. Iceland is a geothermal spa located in a lava field on the Reykjanes Peninsula in southwestern Iceland, just a short drive from Reykjavik. Fed by mineral-rich waters from deep within the earth, this surreal pool remains at a soothing temperature year-round, even as snow dances across the surrounding black volcanic landscape. This isn't just a beautiful hot spring. The silica, algae, and minerals in the lagoon are said to offer therapeutic benefits for the skin. Steam rises in thick, ethereal clouds, creating an otherworldly ambiance unlike anything else on Earth. Though man-made, the Blue Lagoon harmonizes with Iceland's raw, untouched terrain and embodies the island's geothermal soul. It's a place of contrasts, heat and ice, stillness and intensity. Tip: visit at twilight when the pastel skies blend with the glowing water, and you'll feel like you're floating between two dimensions. What if your night sky became a stage, and the stars were only the opening act? Tromsø, Norway, is not just the Arctic's gateway. It's its glowing heart, where modern life meets polar wilderness. Perched above the Arctic Circle, Tromsø offers front-row seats to one of Earth's most jaw-dropping spectacles, the Northern Lights. The best time to witness them? Between September and March, when the dark skies come alive with swirling emerald and crimson waves. But there's more than auroras here. Tromsø is a vibrant city with a surprisingly buzzing nightlife, cutting-edge architecture like the Arctic Cathedral, and a deep-rooted Arctic heritage. The city is also a hub for polar research and was once the launch point for expeditions to the North Pole. From fjord cruises to whale watching, from husky sledding across snowy plains to hiking under the midnight sun in summer, this town does extremes like no other. Tromsø is where science, tradition, and nature dance together under a sky that never stays still. Rising starkly from the desolate rust-colored wilderness of the Sinai Peninsula, Mount Sinai is more than just a peak. It's a pilgrimage. Revered in Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, this legendary mountain is believed to be the site where Moses received the 10 Commandments. Climbing Mount Sinai in the dark to catch the sunrise is an unforgettable experience. As dawn breaks over the jagged granite peaks, the desert glows gold and pink, a moment of silence and awe that draws pilgrims and adventurers alike. At the mountain's base lies St. Catherine's Monastery, one of the oldest Christian monasteries in the world, active since the 6th century. Its library holds ancient manuscripts and icons, and the burning bush, according to tradition, still grows on its grounds. Whether you're drawn by faith, history, or sheer natural beauty, Mount Sinai offers a spiritual stillness unlike anywhere else. The stark terrain, deep silence, and powerful symbolism make every step up the rocky trail feel like part of a greater journey. What if the driest place on Earth also had valleys that bloom in flowers, salt flats that gleam like mirrors, and skies so clear you can see into the universe? Welcome to the Atacama Desert, Chile, a place that defies expectations at every turn. Stretching along Chile's northern Pacific coast, the Atacama lies between the Andes and the coastal Cordillera. It's a land of extremes: parched plains, jagged canyons, and lunar valleys like Valle de la Luna. Yet here, you'll find flamingos in salt lagoons, ancient geoglyphs, and geysers shooting into the dawn. The desert's history is etched into the earth, from Inca trade routes to colonial mining towns. Local Atacameño culture persists in villages like San Pedro de Atacama. And the stars? Due to zero light pollution, this is the best stargazing on the planet. So clear, NASA tested Mars rovers here. How does it feel to watch the sunrise over a forgotten empire's stone towers wrapped in jungle vines? Siem Reap, Cambodia offers one of the world's most surreal travel experiences, an ancient wonder frozen in time. Nestled in the northwestern plains of Cambodia, Siem Reap is the gateway to the legendary Angkor Wat Temple Complex, the largest religious monument on Earth. Built by the Khmer Empire in the 12th century, these vast ruins are more than just architecture. They're a civilization's silent poetry, etched in stone. Wander through Ta Prohm, where trees intertwine with temple walls, or marvel at the divine symmetry of Bayon with its 200 serene stone faces. Beyond the temples, Siem Reap pulses with charm. Lively night markets, traditional Apsara dance shows, and a rising art scene reflecting Cambodia's cultural rebirth. Despite its tumultuous history, the city radiates resilience and warmth. It's not just about ruins, it's about rediscovery. What if fairy tales had a homeland? Dense forests, wooden churches, and misty peaks. Welcome to the Carpathians. The Carpathian Mountains of Ukraine stretch along the country's western border, a vast realm of untouched nature, folklore, and centuries-old traditions. It's one of Europe's last wild frontiers. This region is a sanctuary of pine-scented air, alpine meadows, and deep-rooted heritage. Villages like Yaremche and Verkhovina preserve Hutsul culture, known for its music, woodcraft, and spiritual connection to the land. Wooden churches, many UNESCO-listed, rise gracefully from the hills. Hiking trails wind through forests where bears, wolves, and lynxes still roam. Hoverla, Ukraine's highest peak, offers panoramic views that seem painted in oil. In winter, Bukovel becomes a premier ski resort. In summer, nature reigns. The Carpathians offer peace without polish. The kind of serenity that doesn't need luxury to feel rich. Here, the mountains speak softly, and those who listen will carry their echo forever. How can an island made entirely of sand support lush rainforests and crystal-clear lakes? Fraser Island, Australia, known as Kagari to its indigenous Butchula people, is the largest sand island in the world, stretching over 120 kilometers off the coast of Queensland. It's a UNESCO World Heritage Site where nature constantly defies expectations. Drive along 75-Mile Beach, a wild ocean highway dotted with shipwrecks and colored sand cliffs. Inland, you'll find freshwater gems like Lake Mackenzie, so clear and pure it seems unreal. Rainforests grow from sand dunes, sustained by ancient fungal systems and pure aquifers. Dingoes roam free, and you might spot whales breaching just offshore. Fraser Island is steeped in Aboriginal legend. Kagari means paradise, and it truly lives up to the name. It's a place where ecosystems coexist in impossible harmony, untouched and raw. This island isn't a postcard, it's an ancient miracle written in wind, sand, and water. What if a single bridge could hold centuries of division, war, love, and rebirth? Mostar, Bosnia, and Herzegovina is that bridge and that city. Cradled in the green valleys of the Balkans, Mostar is where East and West embrace awkwardly, passionately, and unmistakably. Minarets and church bells share the skyline, while Ottoman, Austro-Hungarian, and Yugoslav legacies intertwine. Stari Most, Old Bridge, is the symbol of Mostar, and arguably of all Bosnia. Originally built in the 16th century by the Ottomans, it was destroyed during the 1990s war and meticulously rebuilt stone by stone. Today, locals leap from its heights into the cold Neretva River below, a centuries-old tradition reborn as a daring spectacle. Wander the cobbled Kujunduzluk Street and step into the Ottoman era. Coppersmiths hammer out handmade jewelry as the scent of strong Bosnian coffee fills the air. The bazaar is filled with rugs, ceramics, and vintage war memorabilia, a surreal blend of beauty and scars. Mostar is a city of contrast, where post-war resilience meets poetic decay, and where the Blue River always flows, stubborn, clear, and quietly healing. Where do legends live? Perhaps in a place where caves breathe cold air, forests hide ancient secrets, and light filters through fog like a forgotten fairy tale. Apuseni Mountains, Romania. Nestled in western Transylvania, this mountain range is Romania's hidden soul, a land of rolling limestone peaks, subterranean worlds, and scattered wooden hamlets that seem untouched by time. The Apuseni are famous for their otherworldly caves, including Skarishwara, home to one of the world's largest underground glaciers, and the karst labyrinths of Peshtera Vuntului, Wind Cave. Above ground, moss-covered forests and green meadows give the landscape an enchanted, almost Celtic feel. The region has been inhabited for millennia by Dacians, Romans, and today's fiercely traditional mountain communities. Wooden houses, haystacks, and hand-carved gates dot the countryside, where folk tales are still told by firelight. Time flows differently here. Hikers, spelunkers, and quiet seekers find solace in its untamed beauty. And perhaps, just perhaps, hear whispers from another age. Imagine a place where glass skyscrapers mirror lush green mountains and temples whisper stories beside neon-lit streets. Is it fantasy? No, it's Hong Kong, China. Perched on the southern coast of Asia, this special administrative region dazzles with its breathtaking contrast of modernity and tradition. Start with Victoria Peak, the city's highest point, offering a sweeping skyline framed by the South China Sea. Dive into the electric buzz of Mong Kok, or lose yourself in the street markets of Temple Street Night Market. Discover spiritual calm at Man Mo Temple, where incense curls through ancient beams. Historically a blend of Chinese heritage and British colonial legacy, Hong Kong fuses East and West with grace. Locals sip milk tea and practice feng shui, while luxury brands tower over centuries-old tea houses. Did you know the city boasts more skyscrapers than any other in the world? Hong Kong's magic lies in that very contrast, a living paradox suspended between past and future. A capital city built by knights, kissed by three seas, and glowing in golden limestone, where could it be if not Valletta? Valletta, Malta sits on a rocky peninsula between two harbors in the heart of the Mediterranean. Though one of Europe's smallest capitals, it bursts with historical gravitas and architectural splendor, earning its entire footprint a UNESCO World Heritage title. The city was founded in the 16th century by the Knights of St. John and built with military precision, straight streets, mighty bastions, and grand Baroque facades. Among its crown jewels is St. John's Co-Cathedral, a modest exterior hiding an explosion of gold leaf, and Caravaggio's masterpiece, The Beheading of St. John. Valletta's mix of European and Arabic influences is echoed in its language, cuisine, and soul. A lesser-known fact: it was the first planned city in Europe after the Renaissance. Valletta doesn't feel like a tourist destination. It feels like a stage set for an epic historical film. Imagine white cliffs cascading with turquoise pools that look sculpted by gods. Where is this natural fantasy land? Welcome to Pamukkale, Turkey. Pamukkale, Turkey is located in the Denizli province of southwestern Anatolia. It's a surreal landscape of mineral-rich thermal waters flowing down stark white travertine terraces, forming a scene that seems plucked from a dream. The name Pamukkale translates to Cotton Castle, and rightly so. The gleaming white formations resemble soft clouds, frozen in stone. The terraces are formed by calcium deposits from hot springs that have flowed for thousands of years. But the site offers more than natural beauty. It's also home to the ancient Greco-Roman city of Hierapolis, whose ruins include a well-preserved theater and the atmospheric necropolis. In Roman times, Hierapolis was a spa town where aristocrats came for healing and rest. Today, visitors still bathe in the thermal pools, including Cleopatra's Pool. believed to have been used by the Queen herself. This rare combination of geological wonder and ancient history makes Pamukkale a destination unlike any other. It's not just seen, it's felt in warm waters and in timeless stone. When you imagine a city split by two continents, where east whispers to west and history never sleeps, you're dreaming of Istanbul. Istanbul, Turkey straddles both Europe and Asia, divided by the shimmering Bosphorus Strait. This timeless city was once Byzantium, then Constantinople, and today it pulses with layers of history and energy. Its geography alone is a marvel, perched between empires, cultures, and epochs. The skyline is a dance of minarets and domes, with the majestic Hagia Sophia and the Blue Mosque drawing millions. The Grand Bazaar offers sensory overload, while the fragrant Spice Bazaar tempts every corner of your curiosity. Stroll through the old Sultanahmet district, or cruise the Bosphorus for panoramic views of palaces and ancient fortresses. Istanbul is where time collapses. You sip tea in a centuries-old courtyard as ferry horns echo from the sea. One fascinating fact: it's the only city in the world that sits in two continents at once, blending cultures in a way no other place can replicate. It's not just a city, it's a living mosaic of civilizations. What if every direction you looked revealed a postcard? Peaks, glaciers, and skies painted by the gods. Mount Cook, New Zealand, towers as the highest point in Oceania, piercing the heavens at 3,104 meters within the southern Alps on the South Island. Known to the Maori as Aoraki, cloud piercer, it reigns over Aoraki Mount Cook National Park. The Hooker Valley Track offers one of the most breathtaking alpine walks in the world, guiding visitors past icebergs, swing bridges, and glacial lakes. Just nearby, the Tasman Glacier shifts and creaks, a living river of ice. This mountain is sacred in Maori mythology and has inspired climbers since Sir Edmund Hillary trained here before summiting Everest. Its rugged beauty speaks of challenge and reverence. The skies above are part of a dark sky reserve, ideal for stargazing, where constellations shine like ancient maps. Aoraki doesn't just offer views. It confronts you with nature's raw power and quiet, eternal grace. Think Bali is paradise? Wait until you take a boat across the waves and land on Nusa Penida, where the island dreams of Instagram come to life. Nusa Penida, Indonesia, is a rugged, enchanting island just off the southeast coast of Bali. Less developed and more raw than its famous neighbor, it offers dramatic cliffs, crystal-clear lagoons, and secret beaches that look like they were carved by the gods themselves. The island's iconic spot, Kelingking Beach, is famous for its T-Rex-shaped cliff and turquoise water crashing against pure white sands. Nearby, Angel's Billabong and Broken Beach are natural oceanic pools set into volcanic rock, offering an unreal mix of serenity and power. Despite its rising popularity, Nusa Penida still maintains a slower pace. Hindu temples dot the island, like the cave-shrouded Goa Giri Putri, and locals live in harmony with the rhythm of sea and soil. Marine life thrives here too. Manta rays and vibrant coral reefs await divers and snorkelers. It's not the easiest place to reach, but maybe that's what keeps its magic intact. Lofoten Islands, Norway. Located above the Arctic Circle in northern Norway, this archipelago offers one of the most dramatic natural landscapes on Earth. Jagged mountain peaks rise sharply from emerald fjords, and quiet fishing villages with red-roofed cabins dot the rocky coastline. The islands are connected by a series of bridges and tunnels, making every journey a panoramic drive. One of the highlights is the Reinebringen hike, where a steep climb rewards you with a surreal bird's-eye view of Reine village, cradled by towering peaks. In winter, the islands become a front-row seat to the northern lights, while summer brings the midnight sun, casting golden light at all hours. Historically, Lofoten was a hub for cod fishing, and its roots trace back to Viking settlements. Today, the traditions live on through local cuisine, museums like the Lofoter Viking Museum, and preserved architecture that still breathes maritime life. Here, the Arctic doesn't feel desolate. It feels enchanted. The mix of untouched wilderness and cultural echoes makes Lofoten a place of both solitude and story. Ever dreamed of bathing in natural hot springs while gazing at a volcanic coastline? Welcome to Ischia, Italy, the thermal paradise of the Tyrrhenian Sea. Ischia, Italy is a lush volcanic island just off the coast of Naples, nestled in the Tyrrhenian Sea. Unlike its glitzy neighbor Capri, Ischia offers a more laid-back, authentic Italian experience with fewer crowds and more healing waters. The island is famous for its thermal spas, some of them dating back to Roman times, powered by underground volcanic activity. Places like Poseidon Gardens and Negombo Park offer open-air thermal pools surrounded by cliffs and sea views. The island is also crowned by Castello Aragonese, a medieval fortress perched on a rocky islet. Ischia's charm lies in its blend of natural beauty and cultural depth. Lush vineyards, lemon groves, and family-run trattorias dot the island, while sandy beaches and rugged coastlines offer spectacular swims and hikes. It's no wonder Ischia has long been a secret escape for Italians themselves. You climb through clouds, your breath shallow from altitude, and suddenly, ancient stone walls emerge from the mist. Is this a dream or a memory of a lost empire? Machu Picchu, Peru, rises from the Andes in South America like a temple suspended between heaven and earth. Located high in the Sacred Valley, this Incan citadel is surrounded by lush, cloud-draped mountains and intersected by ancient paths like the famous Inca Trail. The citadel itself is a masterclass in ancient engineering. Terraces carved into cliffs, temples aligned with the stars, and stonework so precise, not even a blade fits between the joints. Thought to be a royal estate or spiritual retreat, Machu Picchu was unknown to the outside world until 1911. Beyond its mystery, it's the energy of the place that captivates. Locals believe the site hums with spiritual force. And here's a curious fact. Machu Picchu was never discovered by the Spanish conquerors, which helped preserve its astounding architecture. This is not just a destination, it's a doorway to a forgotten world. You believe you're looking at a vast blue sea, but it's actually a colossal volcanic crater. Welcome to Lake Toba, Indonesia. Located in North Sumatra, this is Southeast Asia's largest lake and the site of one of Earth's most powerful supervolcanic eruptions. Today, it's a serene highland retreat surrounded by green hills and shrouded in mist. At the lake's heart lies Samosir Island, nearly the size of Singapore, floating within the caldera. This island in a lake in an island is home to the Batak people, known for their soulful music, bold architecture, and warm hospitality. It's a world within a world. Visit the Batak Museum in Simanindo, where traditional stilt houses with dragon head roofs house centuries-old musical instruments, heirlooms, and sacred puppets, all part of a rich, animist-rooted culture that predates most major religions. Lake Toba's scale is hard to grasp, 100 kilometers long, 30 wide. The eruption that formed it is believed to have affected the global climate. Today, travelers come for quiet hikes, natural hot springs, and sunrises that paint the mountains in gold. You'll often hear the call of church bells echoing over water, a rare sound in Muslim-majority Indonesia, hinting at the Christian Batak heritage. Would you dare to stand on a boulder suspended over a 1,000-meter abyss? Fjerragbolten, Norway dares you to defy gravity and fear. Fjerragbolten, Norway is a glacial boulder wedged in a crevice between two cliffs, hovering above the Lysfjord. It's not just a geological anomaly. It's one of the most photographed and adrenaline-charged spots in Scandinavia. To reach the boulder, travelers must hike a challenging trail that ascends rugged granite hills, crosses snow patches, and hugs the edge of cliffs. But the reward is pure thrill. Stepping onto the rock is like walking into the sky, with nothing but air beneath your feet. Beyond the boulder, the Kjerag Plateau offers panoramic views of fjords, waterfalls, and distant snowcaps. It's also a hot spot for base jumpers launching into the abyss. Fjerragbolten isn't for the faint of heart. It's for those seeking awe, courage, and one epic photo to prove it. Can you walk through a fairy tale made of stone? In Prague, every cobblestone has a legend to tell. Prague, perched on the Vltava River, is Central Europe's storybook capital, a place where Gothic spires and Baroque facades create a skyline like no other. Known as the City of 100 Spires, it feels suspended between myth and memory. Start at the majestic Prague Castle, then cross the Charles Bridge, flanked by silent saints and serenaded by street musicians. The Old Town Square's astronomical clock still chimes with medieval flair, drawing crowds that gaze upward in awe. Climb to Petrin Hill for a panoramic view that melts into red roofs and cathedral peaks. The city's Jewish quarter adds depth, with centuries of preserved history and sacred sites. Did you know? Franz Kafka wandered these very streets. Prague holds its magic quietly, letting you discover it, layer by ancient layer. What if your next adventure started where Africa meets the Atlantic, in a crescendo of energy, music, and coastal sun? Luanda, the capital of Angola, rises along the ocean like a city caught between wealth and rhythm. From colonial relics to glass towers, it pulses with contrasts and a relentless beat of transformation. Fortaleza de São Miguel, built in 1576 by the Portuguese, is Luanda's most iconic historic site. Its sturdy walls and cannons overlook the sea, while inside, blue azulejos recount colonial history. From the ramparts, the harbor stretches wide, a blend of past conquest and modern ambition. Ilha do Mucelo, a narrow sandbar just offshore, offers a slice of tropical escape. Palm trees sway over calm waters, locals sip drinks on boat decks, and life slows down to the rhythm of the tide. It's where Luandans go to breathe and reconnect with the sea. What if every misty sunrise felt like a painting coming to life? The Great Smoky Mountains offer just that, a timeless sanctuary of fog, forest, and flame-colored leaves. The Great Smoky Mountains, USA, span the border of North Carolina and Tennessee and form part of the Appalachian Range. They're named for the ever-present blue mist that clings to their ridgelines, giving them an ethereal, otherworldly look. This UNESCO World Heritage Site and the most visited national park in the country boasts ancient hardwood forests, cascading waterfalls, and iconic drives like Clingman's Dome Road and the Blue Ridge Parkway. In autumn, the foliage blazes in gold, red, and amber. Culturally, the Smokies preserve rich Appalachian traditions, from folk music to handcrafts, and remnants of early settler cabins hidden among the trails. Surprising detail, the Smoky Mountains are among the world's most biodiverse temperate forests, home to over 19,000 documented species and possibly thousands more undiscovered. It's a secret kingdom in plain sight. How old is the oldest tree you've seen? Now imagine one that's over 7,000 years old. Yakushima Island, Japan, floats off the southern coast of Kyushu like a forgotten realm. Lush, emerald, and mist-wrapped, it's a UNESCO World Heritage Site and one of the wettest places in Japan, a land of rain, moss, and myth. Its centerpiece is the ancient Jomon Sugi tree, perched deep in the cedar forests. Hiking to it feels like entering another dimension. Waterfalls spill down mossy cliffs. Monkeys peer through ferns, and time slows with every muddy step. The Yakusugi cedars are so old, they've lived through emperors and earthquakes alike. Yakushima has inspired countless artists, including the makers of Studio Ghibli's Princess Mononoke. The island pulses with Shinto spirituality, seen in stone shrines tucked into the forest, and rituals that honor nature's spirits. Locals live in rhythm with the land, harvesting flying fish and soaking in seaside onsen. It's not Tokyo, it's not Kyoto. It's older, quieter, wilder. In Yakushima, the forest is alive, and it remembers. What if you could step into a story written in stone? A saga older than history itself? Cairo, Egypt, is your portal to the ancient and the eternal. Situated on the banks of the Nile, this colossal capital is the heartbeat of the Arab world and the gateway to one of humanity's greatest legacies. Stand in awe before the Great Pyramids of Giza, the only remaining wonder of the ancient world. Nearby, the enigmatic Sphinx guards secrets older than empires. Within the city, the Egyptian Museum houses mummies, pharaohs, and treasures like Tutankhamun's golden mask. Then contrast it all with the labyrinthine alleys of Khan el-Khalili Bazaar. Cairo's pulse is both ancient and feverishly modern, a swirl of honking traffic, minaret calls, and rooftop cafes. It has weathered dynasties, colonialism, and revolution. And yet, the city endures, chaotic, magnificent, and endlessly captivating. Cairo is less a destination and more a legend you walk through. What if the sea shimmered like liquid jade, and every twist of the coastline revealed a secret cove or pod of dolphins? Queen Charlotte Sound, New Zealand is nature's masterpiece. Untouched, serene, and soul-stirring. Located at the northern tip of New Zealand's South Island, this labyrinth of drowned river valleys stretches between steep forested hills and deep blue waters. It's one of the Marlborough Sounds, a region best explored by kayak, boat, or hiking the renowned Queen Charlotte Track. This 70-kilometer trail offers a perfect blend of coastal vistas, native bush, and secluded beaches. Historically, This area was significant for both Maori and early European explorers, including Captain James Cook. Today, it's a haven for marine life. Dolphins, seals, and even orcas are frequent visitors. With its gentle pace and cinematic landscapes, Queen Charlotte Sound feels like a place suspended in time, where every moment invites you to breathe deeper and wander slower. What if paradise had black volcanic cliffs, lush waterfalls, and tangerine-scented breezes? That place exists. It's called Jeju Island. Jeju Island, South Korea, is a volcanic island located off the southern coast of the Korean peninsula, in the Korea Strait. Formed by ancient eruptions, the island boasts dramatic coastlines, lush forests, and Mount Halasan, South Korea's highest peak, and a dormant volcano at its heart. The island's highlights include Seongsan Ilchulbong, Sunrise Peak, a UNESCO World Heritage Site rising from the ocean like a fortress, and Manjangul Cave, one of the world's longest lava tubes. Jongbang Waterfall is one of the rare waterfalls that plunge directly into the sea. Historically, Jeju has served as a place of exile and mystery. It has a distinct dialect and culture, including the legendary Haenyeo, female freedivers who harvest seafood without modern gear, preserving centuries-old matriarchal traditions. Fun fact, Jeju is also known for its love theme parks, quirky museums, and thousands of doll harubangs, lava stone statues believed to guard against evil spirits. How does a city mourn with a parade and sing with the sound of brass in the air? New Orleans, USA, turns every emotion into music. Set along the Mississippi River in the heart of Louisiana, this soulful city is a melting pot of French, African, Caribbean, and Creole cultures, all fused into something uniquely its own. The French Quarter draws visitors with its wrought iron balconies, gas-lit streets, and the echo of jazz pouring out of clubs on Bourbon Street. Café du Monde's beignets and Jackson Square's painters are iconic, but beyond the clichés lies a deeper rhythm. Explore voodoo heritage, vibrant second-line parades, and haunted colonial mansions. This is the birthplace of jazz, where legends like Louis Armstrong took their first breaths. During Mardi Gras, the city transforms into a technicolor dream of masks, music, and madness. But even on quiet days, it feels like a song. New Orleans doesn't just have a vibe. It is the vibe, alive with flavor, rhythm, and soul. What if Venice had a secret little cousin who traded in the crowds for charm, the canals for cobbled alleys, and still kept all the Adriatic magic? Welcome to Piran, Slovenia's coastal jewel, a medieval town perched on a narrow peninsula jutting into the sea. With its terracotta roofs, Venetian architecture, and the salty breeze of the Adriatic, Piran feels like a sun-drenched time capsule where the Mediterranean meets Central Europe. At the heart of Piran lies Tartini Square, named after the town's most famous son, violinist Giuseppe Tartini. The square, once a harbor, is now a white stone plaza framed by elegant buildings and crowned by a statue of Tartini himself. From here, narrow lanes spiral outward toward the sea and up the hill to the church. Climb to the top of the hill and you'll find St. George's Church, watching protectively over Piran like a lighthouse of faith. Its bell tower, inspired by St. Mark's in Venice, offers panoramic views of red roofs, green hills, and endless blue. A photographer's dream and a soul's resting place. Piran is a town best explored slowly, by foot, by taste, by sunset. Local seafood, crystal clear waters, and streets that seem to whisper stories of merchants and mariners make it a true Adriatic gem. Fun fact, cars are banned in much of the Old Town, so the quiet is broken only by the sounds of footsteps, waves, and laughter drifting from hidden cafes. What if a medieval village clung to a cliff above the sea, offering views so perfect they stop your breath? Èze, perched high above the French Riviera between Nice and Monaco, is a mountaintop village that feels frozen in time. Winding stone paths lead you through fragrant gardens, centuries-old buildings, and breathtaking terraces with panoramic views of the Mediterranean below. The village's exotic garden, Jardin Exotique, is a sanctuary of succulents and sculpture perched on the cliff's edge. Walk its narrow alleys and discover artisan shops, perfumeries, and a serenity that stands in stark contrast to the glitz of the nearby coast. Èze is also known for inspiring artists and writers. Did you know? Friedrich Nietzsche often climbed from the sea to the village on a path now named after him. It's not just beauty, it's introspection in stone and sea breeze. One of the Côte d'Azur's most magical secrets. Have you ever walked through a city where clouds kiss the rooftops and time drifts like smoke from a wood stove? San Cristobal de las Casas in Chiapas sits high in the mountains of southern Mexico. Surrounded by pine forests and steep valleys, it blends indigenous tradition with colonial beauty. The air is cool, the streets cobbled, and every corner hides a story. Templo de Santo Domingo is San Cristobal's Baroque jewel. Its pink stone facade, carved in floral detail, guards a serene convent courtyard. Inside, golden altars shimmer under shafts of light. It's a place of silence and reverence, echoing centuries of faith. The artisan market explodes with color and texture. Here, Tzotzil and Tzeltal women sell hand-woven textiles, embroidered huipiles, amber jewelry. Every stall is a burst of culture, and each purchase supports living traditions passed down for generations. Can a city be a time machine? One that dances to the rhythm of rumba while trapped in the golden light of the 1950s? That's Havana, Cuba, a sultry capital suspended between nostalgia and rebellion. Located on the northern coast of the island, Havana faces the Gulf of Mexico with a charm that feels cinematic. Stroll along the Malecón, Havana's breezy seaside promenade, where vintage Chevrolets cruise past crumbling colonial mansions. Explore Old Havana, a UNESCO World Heritage Site, packed with Baroque churches, pastel facades, and hidden courtyards where music never sleeps. This city is a survivor. From Spanish conquest to Cold War intrigue, Havana has preserved its identity with bold colors and sharper rhythms. Salsa spills from every doorway, and cigars are rolled by hand, just blocks from revolutionary murals of Che Guevara. Havana isn't polished. It's alive, imperfect, and unforgettable. Ever seen a city that looks like it rose out of the sand itself? Jaisalmer, India, is the golden dream of the Thar Desert. Jaisalmer. India is located in the far west of Rajasthan, deep in the Thar Desert. Known as the Golden City because of its yellow sandstone architecture, it stands like a mirage rising from the dunes, timeless and glowing under the desert sun. The centerpiece of Jaisalmer is its massive fort, built in 1156 and still inhabited today. It's one of the few living forts in the world, filled with homes, temples, shops, and palaces, all enclosed within high defensive walls. The intricately carved Patwan Ki Haveli and the ancient Jain temples inside the fort reveal the artistic soul of this desert kingdom. The city is steeped in Rajput warrior history and local legends, and its desert location creates an otherworldly charm, especially during sunset camel rides or nights under the stars in nearby sand camps. In Jaisalmer, time feels slower, colors are deeper, and the silence of the dunes tells stories louder than words ever could. What if a postcard came to life? With alpine peaks, a glassy lake, and pastel chalets mirrored in the water. Hallstatt, nestled in Austria's Salzkammergut region, is so stunning it almost feels unreal. Perched between Lake Hallstatt and towering mountains, this lakeside village is one of Europe's most photographed destinations, and for good reason. Its 16th-century houses seem to float on the water's edge, framed by swans and steep cliffs. Wander narrow lanes, visit the World Heritage Skywalk, or take a boat ride across the lake for panoramic views that defy description. Above, a centuries-old salt mine offers underground adventures and breathtaking vistas. Hallstatt's charm is quiet and immersive. It's not a place you rush. It's one you breathe in slowly. Fun fact, there's a full-scale replica of Hallstatt in China, which only proves the global allure of this tiny Austrian treasure. What if every curve of the road brought you to a view straight out of a Renaissance painting? That's the daily magic of Val d'Orcia, Italy. Val d'Orcia, Italy is a dreamlike region in southern Tuscany, celebrated for its rolling hills, cypress-lined roads, and postcard-perfect villages. It's a UNESCO World Heritage Site, and it's not hard to see why. The landscapes here are a living canvas of harmony between man and nature. The area is dotted with timeless towns like Pienza, Montalcino, and San Quirico d'Orcia, each offering stone houses, medieval squares, and quiet charm. Vineyards stretch across the valley, producing world-class wines like Brunello di Montalcino, while fields of wheat and sunflowers sway in the Tuscan sun. This region inspired countless Renaissance artists and continues to attract filmmakers and poets. The light here is golden, the pace is slow, and life revolves around good food, good wine, and breathtaking views. It's Italy at its most serene and most photogenic. What if you found an alpine wonderland just a few hours from the sea? Welcome to Picos de Europa, Spain, a hidden sanctuary of peaks, pastures, and ancient trails. Picos de Europa, Spain is a mountain range in northern Spain that stretches across Asturias, Cantabria, and Castile and Leon. Though less known than the Pyrenees, it delivers just as much drama. With towering limestone peaks, deep gorges, and emerald green valleys. This rugged landscape is home to some of the most picturesque hikes in Europe, including the famous Kers Trail that clings to cliffsides above the Kers River. Glacial lakes like Lagos de Covadonga reflect the surrounding peaks, while charming stone villages like Potes offer a hearty welcome after a day on the trails. Culturally, this is the cradle of early Christian Spain, with the sanctuary of Covadonga marking the site of a pivotal historical battle. Local traditions remain strong, from cider pouring to cheese making. The combination of dramatic nature and rich heritage makes it a true gem for those who venture off the beaten path. What if a medieval fortress rose from a maze of blood-red rocks shaped like ancient gods and sleeping giants? It's not fantasy. It's Belogradchik, Bulgaria. Tucked against the Balkan Mountains in Bulgaria's northwest, this mystical town is home to one of the country's most surreal landscapes. The Belogradchik Rocks, a labyrinth of towering sandstone and conglomerate formations, stretch across 30 kilometers, shaped by centuries of wind and water into bizarre, often human-like forms. The crown jewel is the Belogradchik Fortress, partially built into the rock formations themselves. With origins dating back to Roman times and expansions during the Ottoman era, the fortress offers panoramic views over alien terrain and whispering pine forests. This region has long sparked legends. Locals tell tales of monks turned to stone, rock guardians of treasure, and an exiled princess whose sorrow shaped the valley. The town itself is quiet, authentic, and deeply rooted in Bulgarian tradition. Belogradchik is more than just a destination. It's a collision of geology, myth, and forgotten history, standing still under a sky that seems to honor its silence. What if you could hike inside a volcanic crater, then swim in a geothermal lake, all before lunch? The Azores, Portugal, are a lush archipelago in the North Atlantic, 9 volcanic islands rising from deep blue seas. Located nearly 1,400 kilometers west of Lisbon, they blend raw nature with serene isolation and a touch of myth. São Miguel, the largest island, is famed for Sete Cidades, a twin lake system inside a collapsed volcano, with emerald and sapphire waters. Terceira offers lava tubes and historic towns, while Pico has the highest mountain in Portugal and world-class whale watching. The islands thrive on sustainability, geothermal energy, and slow travel. Locals still cook stews in volcanic steam vents and farm on terraced cliffs. Here's a little secret. The Azores have some of the clearest skies in Europe, perfect for stargazing. It's Europe's last wild paradise, floating far from the crowds but close to your imagination. What if you stumbled upon a capital that feels like a giant open-air gallery, where brutalist relics of the past clash with vivid street art and quirky cafes? Tirana, Albania's energetic heart, surprises at every turn. Nestled in southeastern Europe, between coastal mountains and the Adriatic Sea, the city's raw energy blends Ottoman roots, Italian elegance, and communist legacy, all painted in bold, rebellious colors. The iconic Skanderbeg Square is where Tirana's layered history meets its vibrant future. Anchored by a statue of Albania's national hero, the square is flanked by the National History Museum with its enormous socialist mural, the Ethem Bey Mosque, and modern towers rising in the backdrop. A collision of time periods in one frame. Once restricted to the communist elite, the Baloku district now pulses with Tirana's nightlife and cosmopolitan soul. Trendy bars, rooftop lounges, and avant-garde eateries line its streets, drawing the city's youth and curious visitors into its lively rhythm. Tirana's pastel-colored apartment blocks, once gray remnants of the Hoxha regime, have become symbols of transformation. Fun fact, the mayor once hired artists to paint buildings to combat post-communist gloom, and it worked. Tirana is alive with optimism, reinvention, and color. How would it feel to sip fresh tea while suspended above a sea of emerald hills? Ella, Sri Lanka, is that dreamscape come alive? Surrounded by cloud-kissed peaks, Verdant tea plantations and cascading waterfalls, this quiet village in the heart of the island offers soul-healing serenity far from the tourist crowds. The region is famous for the Nine Arches Bridge, an architectural marvel rising from a jungle ravine. Watching the slow roll of a train over its graceful stone curve is like stepping into a Miyazaki film. Little Adams Peak, a short hike from town, gifts panoramic views across tea valleys that seem painted rather than real. Colonial-era railways, Buddhist stupas, and fragrant curry stalls speak to a rich blend of British heritage and Sinhalese tradition. It's a land where spiritual calm meets visual poetry. Ella is a retreat for both body and mind, a place to slow down, breathe in cardamom-scented air, and watch time drift by like mist across the mountains. Acre is one of those cities that refuses to be forgotten. A place where every stone has seen empires rise and fall, Crusaders, Ottomans, Mamluks, and more. This ancient port on Israel's northern coast is not just a UNESCO World Heritage Site. It's a palimpsest of power, faith, and resilience, layered in salt and sun. Beneath modern Akko lies a near-intact medieval world. The Knights' Halls, vast, echoing stone chambers once filled with armor and prayer, feel as though the Crusaders just stepped out. This underground city is a time capsule like no other, preserved beneath centuries of conquest and collapse. Standing proudly within the old city walls, this 18th-century Ottoman mosque, with its green dome and elegant courtyard, is a symbol of Acre's Islamic heritage. Built by the formidable governor Al-Jazir, it's a place of beauty, balance, and power. But Acre isn't just old stones. It's a living city where Jews, Muslims, and Christians share narrow lanes, fragrant spice stalls, and sweeping views of the Mediterranean. At sunset, the city turns golden. Fishermen mend nets. Muezzins call to prayer. And Acre, ageless and indomitable, breathes again. What if silence had a color? In Asen, it's turquoise, carved into glaciers and mirrored in fjords. Aisen region, Chile, lies deep within Patagonia, a vast, untouched wilderness stretching from the Andes to the Pacific. With fewer residents than some city blocks, it's a place where nature still roars louder than humans. Here, the marble caves of General Carrera Lake glow in surreal shades, carved by water over millennia. You can kayak through their smooth blue tunnels or watch icebergs drift under the gaze of the northern Patagonian ice field. From the towering peaks of Cerro Castillo to the deep valleys of the Carretera Austral, every turn reveals a new frontier. Founded late in Chile's expansion, Asen has a rugged settler history, cattle herding, isolation, and survival. Yet today it draws nature seekers and adventurers craving solitude and grandeur. Fishing villages remain unchanged, and you can still hear indigenous Kaweskar echoes in the wind. There are no mega resorts here, no rush, just sky, rock, ice, and time itself. Aisen doesn't try to impress. It just exists, fiercely, beautifully, untouched. What if an old mining town became a canvas of murals, caves, and coffee? Ipoh, in western Malaysia's Perak state, is wrapped in karst hills and colonial nostalgia. Once booming with tin, it's now known for its hip cafes, temple caves, and food that rivals Penang's. The charm here is subtle. It lingers in the air. Kek Lok Tong is a temple hidden inside a limestone cave. Past the towering entrance, gardens bloom beneath dripping stone, and golden Buddhas glow in filtered light. It's tranquil, sacred, and otherworldly, a sanctuary carved by time. Concubine Lane tells whispers of the past. Once the hidden retreat of tycoons and mistresses, it now bursts with boutique shops and vintage cafes. Narrow, busy, and full of flavor, it's where old stories meet new life. Imagine a land where roads vanish and ancient tribes live untouched by time. Kyokoland, Namibia, in the remote northwest corner of the country, is one of Africa's last true wildernesses. This arid expanse stretches between the Skeleton Coast and the Angolan border, where ochre mountains meet dry riverbeds that bloom with life after rare rains. Its most iconic inhabitants are the Himba people, a semi-nomadic tribe known for their intricate hairstyles, red ochre skin, and resilience in harsh desert conditions. Visiting their villages offers a rare, respectful glimpse into ancient customs still practiced today. You'll also find desert-adapted elephants and giraffes wandering freely through the wild terrain. The Epupa Falls on the Kunene River create an unexpected oasis, a roaring cascade framed by baobab trees. Wildlife roams unrestricted, and sunsets here paint the desert in hues of copper and gold. There's no Wi-Fi, no pavement, no fences, only dust, silence, and the feeling of stepping centuries back in time. Kyokoland doesn't welcome everyone, but for those who enter with humility, it reveals one of Earth's rawest and rarest souls.